So hello and thank you for speaking to Mad in Asia. And if you could just begin by telling us your name and then what it is you do and who you do it with.
Hi, I'm Ellisha Othman. I'm a clinical psychologist with an NGO called Souls Health. We are a community-based behavioral health service provider, and we work with marginalized and underprivileged communities in Malaysia. And we've used the approach of combining mental health and also community development.
And in your opinion, what are the most pressing needs for the people of these communities that you serve? What are their needs? Do you think it's more the basic needs? Do you think it's psychosocial, economic? And of course, everything is intersectional.
Yes.
So what are your reflections on that?
Definitely, I think with these communities, the basic needs, for example, livelihood, access to education, is still there are still big gaps there. However, it's quite encouraging. There are numerous NGOs in Malaysia that are doing the work. However, what tends to be missing is the psychosocial support. So whether it's specific mental health services or awareness of mental health or getting the right access to even how to navigate the healthcare system. Because our government does provide universal healthcare services. So I think that the more important thing they need is actually the knowledge, information, and the connection to getting the right services where they can make choices, informed choices about these services.
And what are the biggest challenges for your team when you go into these communities? How open are they to your help? What are the challenges you face? Tell us a little more about that.
When we work with communities, we always look at the specific needs for us to understand, because I would say each community has very, very unique and specific needs. So I think the challenges would be a lot to do with education, particularly about mental health, the understanding that it's not just either it's a medicalization model, meaning they think just taking medication will help, or it could also be due to the understanding from their cultural perspective, so still going to the traditional healers. So I think this is where we want to bridge the gap, where they need to understand that it's just beyond the medical, spiritual. There's also a big part of this psychology and the social services as well. However, I think it's also the approach that we use with the community, where the first step is always to just simply be, to understand, to engage with the community leaders. And when I say leaders, not necessarily the formal leaders, they're always the people with influence in the community, the parents, usually the mothers. The mothers are our strongest support, and also the youth, because the mothers and the youth are where the receptiveness is a lot higher, at least, and it cuts across all communities.
And one last question, that would you say the user voice or the person with lived experience or mental health distress, is their voice loud enough, or is the caregiver voice more prevalent? Are their wishes more, do they force their opinion on the people living with mental health distress?
I think the caregivers right now, a lot of the decisions rests with the caregivers more than the person with lived experiences. And very often, as we're going back to the community development part, it also goes back to the needs, whether it's economic, whether it's gender rights, whether it's access to education. So very often people in these institutions make the decisions for them. When I say caregivers, it could be like from the education, they're teachers or doctors in the healthcare setting. So I think it's time to give back that knowledge, so that they can make those choices for themselves, to increase the autonomy and self-agency, for them to be able to understand what they need and how to reach out, because that actually creates sustainable change. And in terms from a service provider, it also creates a commitment for them to make that to make the informed choice and the decision to create that meaningful change for themselves. I think the challenges is definitely there, but it's also changing the mindset of people on the ground, as well as working with the caregivers. So I wouldn't say the challenges will be too big, but I think it's rolling with it and trying to get the commitment and support.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's about it. So thank you so much for speaking to Marination, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.